What if we are about to see this in the Bitcoin market? And all that's happening while assets like Ether are showing you a negative divergence. Negative divergence is a textbook negative pattern as it sounds. But we have times in history where we got negative divergence, but immediately the market reversed. So you look at the total altcoin market, you get the same. You look at Ether, you kind of get to see the same thing happening. But then assets like XRP does not reflect that, which kind of shows a huge push towards the utility-based assets. So Bitcoin dominance slowing down obviously is a good sign, but Bitcoin doing this can be shaky, meaning it's a slippery slope. Assets with negative divergence can be slowed down during these kind of downturn. Now, if this downturn happens to go towards this direction, that is going to be a crazy area for the assets, which now has a negative divergence because your macro support for that leg would be down here at $87,000. So that in a textbook pattern for Bitcoin would just be the A, B, and C. It can still come back up to test these, which can be on a monthly chart a negative divergence. But I'll be blunt with you guys saying you have the negative divergence here on a weekly. Why would you ask for more? Now, it's not just that. You have a negative divergence. If this month close like this in the next 3-4 days, we are not going up and closing like this, or if we slow down, then the chances are the monthly is giving you the negative divergence as well. So you have the quarterly saying there is a negative divergence, you have the monthly saying that, and you have the weekly saying the same. So it's up to you what you decide, but we'll actually go through XRP and other assets, one in payments, one in smart contracts, one in gaming, one in infrastructure, to see where exactly the negative divergence is visible. And that gives you the basic idea. On an asset to asset basis, in the actual Patreon, we're going through one by one all the assets so that you guys actually see if your portfolio has 10 assets, how many of them really has a negative divergence right now on a weekly. If it's not there, that's okay. If you have 5-6 assets with negative divergence, you really have to think big and do the right thing. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Now, let's dive without wasting time into the basics. One, this is XRP payments. On a 3-day, you don't have a negative divergence. On a weekly, you don't have a negative divergence. On a monthly, you sure don't have one. Yeah. Now, all that you have is going exponential, parabolic kind of an event here in XRP. Fine. Now, take XLM for that matter, which is also in payments. Do you see something? It's all the same. It's kind of following each other on a weekly, on a 3-day, on a monthly, it's fine. Now, what we want to know is, say, some of these assets like Ether, just like as you can see, is showing you the price actually came back up to this top, but the other side did not. Why though? Actually, I mean, that's a big asset with a lot of hype. But right now, you don't actually see the price action following that. So if Bitcoin is about to push lower, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Ether may push lower to test this trend line. Now, is that a big negative flag? No, not really, because it's just a 40% drop. And we have seen those 40% drop multiple times in the same asset, and it has gone back up. So if you're worried about such a move, which would be, from here, that's another 30% drop. So if that scares you, yeah, this video is for you. You need to understand that. Now, Ether is in smart contract. So we pick Cardano. That's again another smart contracts asset. Is it asset to asset basis or segment to segment basis? That's something you need to keep in your mind. So we checked payments, XRP and XLM. They don't have one. We checked Ether. It does have some. And now we are looking at Cardano. What do you see? I mean, if I'm looking at it, I'm saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. The price actually went up, but the RSI didn't. So that's a negative divergence in Cardano on a weekly. Now I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is that visible on a monthly? It is not. So it's cool. Meaning you will drop, most likely you're going to drop. And you'll have an ABC which can be wild. Yeah. But your retest as a bottom should be your previous resistance. So this range should act as a resistance. Now, what is that in price terms? That's a negative 30% as well, which would actually make it from the top 50-55% drop. Now, it is again common for such assets to do 50% drop. As you can see from the local high to local lows, it has done that multiple times. But what makes more sense for that asset to come back to the trend line and bounce, or make this an accumulation region and then bounce? I would argue we have seen something similar where it does these crazy moves. Yeah, let me plot this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is exactly what we are doing in Cardano. This phase here, you may actually get that. So as you reverse from here, yeah, I think that asset can actually do big. But how did it reverse and why did the negative divergence go away? That is something I want you to get inside here. Why? Say you got the negative divergence, say, fine, thus slow the price down. But then you see the local bottoms. The local bottom here was same, but RSI showed you a hidden bullish divergence. Clean? So if you get to see that, just that, fine. At that point, it's about to go back up. But right now, there's some trouble. Yeah? Now that's smart contracts. Now let's pick gaming. Say we'll take large cap gaming, Gala. This is pure education video. No hype, zero hype. I don't want that thing here. Now on a 3-day chart, you kind of say like there's no negative divergence. But the trouble is you have a bit of hidden negative divergence, bearish divergence. Yeah, the price came back up almost to the top, but the RSI did. I mean, it's opposite. The RSI came back, meaning the strength was there, but the price failed. And I'm like, okay, is that visible on a 3-day? Is that visible on a weekly? Is that visible on a monthly? So here on a weekly, it's not. It's clear. Like there's no negative divergence here. All that you're doing is the 1 and most likely the 2 and the 3 to break this thing. And then you may have the ABC while the negative divergence in all the other assets we talked about plays out and they drop big. This may come back to retest. Now that makes this zone an accumulation region. That's where you actually buy. And this breakout is where you enter if you're a trader, long-term trader. Then you ride. Yeah? So that's gaming. Now, let's see if that's a one-off in gaming. Yeah. So this is Mana. So when you're looking at another large cap asset in gaming, this is what you see. Oh, you're still in accumulation and it looks like you're doing the 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we break this accumulation region, because if you do, now you stay choppy here and then ride back up. But don't look for the time, because you all know how much time it actually takes for this or these segments to go up. When they start running up, they don't actually take much time. That's like 60 days, 2 months, 3 months, not a year. Yeah. So this is just an indicator of the price action, not the time taken. So now you saw the payments, the smart contracts, the gaming. Let's look at infrastructure tokens, say GRT graph. There's something I'm looking at but say we'll use the same thought process, which is Wyckoff. Yeah. This is your accumulation region. You literally made this pattern, which is bullish, and you don't have a negative divergence, which is cool for me. That means, the price action is following the trend, and I'm happy to ride that. So on a weekly, for the graph, which is an infrastructure token, it is showing you it is literally making a double bottom. And that zone breakout is being retested. Fine. So any bounce from there should be something good. Now say this is a new structure. This is your new resistance. So at that point, you would actually plot it somewhat like this, saying, okay, that's a symmetrical triangle. If that breaks to the upside, fine. We all would like to enjoy that, right? But again, no negative divergence. Let's see again if that's a one-off. We'll pick another asset in the infrastructure with Dent. That's a small cap. And we do not see a negative divergence. This is there because I've been posting a lot of assets, looking if they have a negative divergence or not in Patreon, one by one, asset by asset. So if you would like to join that party in the Scientific Investor family, use that link in the description below and get to see all the assets, individual assets, and see if there are some one-offs in each segment which does have negative divergence, while the majority in that group does not, which will be important. While the Bitcoin dominance drop here, making a lower high, remember, we talked about the same idea because the major structure is to the big move to the downside. So when the micro follows the macro, that usually is a bigger move. So we want to be on that side of the bigger move, not the opposite. So in here, you don't have a negative divergence, which is good, which is clear. Now you look at the monthly. You're like, whoa, we don't have a negative divergence and it's still in accumulation mode or trying to break through it, depending on how you plot it. But I see this as it's following the history. We have seen these kind of drops in this asset before. So maybe we are doing something like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm right, in 2 months, 3 months time, you will see something like this, a parabolic run up in Dent. I mean, it won't just be in Dent. There will be a lot of different assets which will follow that structure. So now we saw the infrastructure, the smart contracts, the payments, the gaming. So you kind of get an idea which sector you are in. Now say you pick up meme coins. This is one of that. And it shows you, whoa. The price was going up, but the RSI was not. So you already made the negative divergence. That doesn't look good. Now you go on a monthly and you're like, fine. I don't have much data, but it does not look good. So you go pick up another asset, which can be, say, Pepe. Let's see if it has the market data. Weekly is fine. Here you are, the price is traveling to the upside. As of now, you don't have much of a negative divergence on a weekly, but yeah, you do have that on the 3-day. So the weekly is trying to make one as the 3-day works on the negative divergence. Yeah, so it can be a 1, 2, 3 leg because you had the A, B, and then C. Now, in that sense, you would actually get the support here. The ABC won't be that deep. It should be somewhat something like this, where you get supported here because your macro wave would be like this. Maybe a bear high, but you'll still have somewhat something like this, which would be the negative divergence on a weekly chart. This is why I say the negative divergence on a weekly is important, guys. While the Bitcoin price goes up and the Bitcoin dominance goes down, you don't want to go against it. I mean, it's the market. It can be really volatile and it can be really choppy, but following that direction is going to be important. So now you saw a lot of different assets in a lot of different segments. So once you look at your portfolio and see, okay, my portfolio is balanced into these segments and they don't have a negative divergence, you're cool. But if you are so heavy in one segment, say payments, and if it does have negative divergence, it's like getting screwed. Whereas if you're, say, in gaming, smart contracts and it doesn't have negative divergence, it's okay. But we just saw which segment has the negative divergence. That's smart contracts. It's a fundamental area of the market. But ask the question, while the negative divergence is forming, is it good to have a heavy smart contracts bag, or is it good to have something which doesn't have that? So guys, if you received value, smash that like button. And if you want to join the family with 1,500 members and get the negative divergence at the right time, use the link in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.